I never thought I'd be writing one of these posts. My wife Kate and I were the couple everyone envied. 12 years of marriage, 2 beautiful kids, a house in the suburbs with the white picket fence, and all that. We met in college, built our careers together, and had what I genuinely believed was an unbreakable bond. I'm 37, she's 35, and until 3 weeks ago, I thought we were happy. It started with a text message. One of those moments where life splits into before and after. Kate had asked me to use her phone to take pictures at our daughter's soccer game because mine was nearly dead. When I opened her camera app, a notification slid down from the top of the screen. A message from someone named Mike from work that simply read, "I miss you so much. Last night was incredible." My stomach dropped. I took the pictures mechanically, handed her back the phone without saying anything. Maybe there was an explanation, right? Maybe Mike from work was just a close colleague expressing appreciation for a late-night project they'd completed. Deep down, I knew better, but denial is a powerful drug. That night, I waited until Kate fell asleep. I hate myself for it, but I did something I've never done before. I checked her phone. What I found destroyed me. Thousands of messages dating back over a year. Photos, hotel reservations, inside jokes, and intimate conversations that made it clear this wasn't just a physical affair, but a deep emotional connection. Mike wasn't even from work, as her phone suggested. He was our neighbor's brother who had moved to the area 14 months ago. He'd been to our house for barbecues. He'd play with our kids. While I grilled burgers, they exchanged glances across our backyard. I spent the rest of that night in our basement, reading through their messages until the sun came up, each one another dagger. They had carefully orchestrated their meetings around my business trips and the kids' schedules. They had a system, code words, private jokes about how oblivious I was. The following morning, I went through the motions, made breakfast for the kids, kissed Kate goodbye as she left for work. I called in sick, dropped the kids at school, and then just drove aimlessly for hours, trying to decide what to do. I wanted to believe there was a way to fix this, but the messages revealed something worse than just sex. Kate had told him she loved him, that she'd never felt this way before, that she was only staying with me for the kids and financial stability. When I finally confronted her that evening, I expected tears, denials, or at least remorse. Instead, there was this look of relief on her face, like she'd been waiting for this moment. "I'm sorry you found out this way," she said. "I was going to tell you after the holidays." After the holidays. Like it was some minor scheduling issue she needed to work out. The last 3 weeks have been a blur of sleepless nights, emergency therapy sessions, and hushed conversations after the kids go to bed. I've moved into the guest room while we figure things out, but the truth is, I don't know if there's anything left to figure out. The kids know something's wrong. They're 9 and 7, old enough to sense the tension, but too young to understand its source. Emma, our oldest, keeps asking why I'm sleeping in the guest room. "Dad's back hurts," Kate tells her, and I bite my tongue because starting a war in front of them is the last thing they need. But every lie feels like another betrayal, compounding the original one. I've told my brother and my best friend from college. Their immediate reaction was what you'd expect. Leave her. Take her for everything. Once a cheater, always a cheater. But it's never that simple when you've built a life with someone, when your finances are intertwined, when innocent children are involved. Kate wants to try counseling. She's ended things with Mike, or so she claims. He's suddenly taken a job across the country. Convenient timing that makes me wonder if this confrontation was the exit strategy they'd planned all along. She cries when she thinks I can't see her, but I'm not sure if she's mourning our marriage or mourning him. I agreed to the counseling, not because I believe our marriage can be saved, but because I need to know I tried everything before walking away. Our first session was yesterday. Sitting across from a stranger while Kate detailed her justifications for the affair was surreal. She talked about feeling neglected, about how my focus on providing for the family meant I wasn't emotionally present, about how Mike saw her in ways I hadn't for years. "And did you ever mention these feelings to your husband before starting the affair?" our therapist asked. Kate's silence was deafening. I've been going through our life with a fine-tooth comb, examining every memory for signs I missed. Were there clues when she started coming home later from yoga classes that somehow never seemed to make her sweat? When she suddenly developed an interest in her appearance in ways she hadn't since we were dating? When she became protective of her phone, changing the password every few weeks? The worst part is the humiliation. I've had to tell my boss why my performance has slipped. I've had to face our neighbors, wondering who knew and pitied me. I've had to field text messages from mutual friends asking why Kate suddenly unfriended everyone on social media. My mother-in-law called me yesterday. Kate had told her everything, painting herself as confused and unhappy but remorseful. Her mother wanted to know if I could find it in my heart to forgive her daughter. "She's always been impulsive," she said, as if a year-long calculated deception was equivalent to an impulse purchase at a department store. I sleep with my wedding ring on the nightstand now, unable to wear it but unable to put it away. Some nights I drink too much after the kids are in bed. Some nights I scroll through dating apps, not to meet anyone, but to remind myself that a future exists beyond this pain. Some nights I read their messages again, torturing myself with images I'll never be able to erase. Kate left a letter under my door this morning. 5 handwritten pages of apologies and promises. I'll spend the rest of my life making this up to you, she wrote. But some broken things can't be fixed, no matter how much glue you apply to the shattered pieces. It's been 2 months since D-Day, as they call it on the infidelity support forums I've been lurking on. 2 months of alternating between blinding rage and crushing despair. 2 months of going through the motions for our children while dying inside. 2 months of Kate's tears and promises and desperate attempts to rebuild what she destroyed. I met with a lawyer last week. Just a consultation to understand my options. In the sterile conference room of his downtown office, he laid out scenarios with clinical detachment, custody arrangements, asset division, child support calculations. The reduction of our life together to spreadsheets and schedules. I left with a folder of papers I haven't been able to open since. The kids had a sleepover at my brother's house last weekend, giving Kate and me the first real chance to talk without worrying about little ears. We sat at opposite ends of the couch we'd picked out together at a furniture store when we first moved in. The distance between us felt both too vast and not nearly vast enough. I need to know why, I said, the question that's been haunting me since that first text message. Not your excuses or justifications. The real reason. Kate stared at her hands for what felt like an eternity before answering. Because I was selfish, she finally said. Because it was exciting and made me feel young again. Because it was easier to start something new than to fix what was broken between us. There was a brutal honesty in her answer that I hadn't expected. No blame shifting, no minimizing. Just the ugly truth of human weakness and the damage it leaves in its wake. That night, we talked until sunrise. About the good years before the affair. About the subtle ways we'd grown apart without noticing. About whether trust once shattered could ever be truly restored. About Emma and Jack and what divorce would mean for their futures. About whether staying together for the kids was noble or just another form of betrayal. I don't have answers yet. Every time I think I've made a decision, I change my mind. Some days the idea of starting over terrifies me more than staying. Other days the thought of looking at her across the breakfast table for the next 30 years makes me physically ill. The therapist says healing isn't linear. That regardless of whether we stay together or split up, I need to process my grief for the marriage I thought I had. That Kate needs to understand the full impact of her choices before she can truly change. That whatever happens, we'll both carry scars from this chapter of our lives. Yesterday, I took the kids to the park while Kate visited her sister. Emma asked me point blank if Mommy and Daddy were getting divorced. The question knocked the wind out of me. I sat her and Jack down on a bench and told them that Mommy and Daddy were working through some grown-up problems, but that we both loved them more than anything in the world. But do you still love Mommy? Jack asked, his little face scrunched with worry. The truth is complicated. I love the woman I thought Kate was. I love our history and the family we've built. But love without trust is like a house with a crumbling foundation. It might look solid from the outside, but it's only a matter of time before it all comes crashing down. I'm trying to figure that out, I told him honestly. It wasn't the answer he wanted, but it was the only one I had to give.